I have been wondering what I was going to say today for the last few days, which is kind of, I would say, ironic to an extent, because the number of scares that we've had for my dad in terms of death scares have just been so many, to the point that at some point I would have dreams of this moment, standing before people and talking at his funeral on a daily basis. Started in 2017 after the election period, 2022 during his sickness. So to actually be here, it's kind of I don't know if surreal is the right word, but it's just, I don't know, it's very weird. But what I want to say is I will not read what I have as a tribute, because like I say in my tribute, summary is not my strong suit. I did not write it from beginning to end. I don't know how my brothers were able to do that and have themes. I've just been reading their tributes and they're pretty good. But mine, he was able to talk, which the doctors found remarkable. As always, he's an overachiever. So after 2-3 days, the first conversation I'm able to have with him now after surgery, and I ask him, how are you? How are you feeling? How does it feel to have something, your head removed from your head? And the first thing he asked me was, how was your presentation? I was like, it's okay. Did you prepare for it? I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I hope you made the family proud. I was like, yeah, I did well. So my dad, he wanted us to proceed with our lives, to still continue doing better, being better. During his entire sickness, he was given a few months to live. But I recall him saying, this sickness is not going to beat me, I'm going to fight it. And he did. So he opened a whole home gym. He was in the gym every morning, every evening. He was taking his medicine time. He was, doing everything, eating healthy. And then he beat it for a while until it recurred again in November of 2023. And the interesting thing is, by November, he had already planned all these international conferences he was supposed to go for. And then we asked him, so what do we do now that, are you still gonna go? He said, yeah, why not? He's still going to go. Because the doctor said it's recurred, but it's not big enough to be removed. So he decided to continue his life. And what we said as a family is somebody will accompany him for each of them. So I recall I accompanied him to Portugal, and that was one of the first ones he did after his brain surgery. And after he finished the presentation, which he did remarkably well, I just saw him very tired, and I think at that point that's when I started to realize the chemotherapy is actually taking a toll on him, and I didn't realize it. But despite that, you couldn't tell, no one could tell, So he always kept pushing himself, and that's what he did. Pushed himself and lived for over 20 months, despite the doctors telling him he only had 4 to 6 months to live. So again, just kept pushing himself. And his positivity, his drive, his confidence is what pushes me as well to just continue doing better, to continue being better, to live to the expectations that I have set for myself. And towards his last days, like I said, we've had many death scares. Leave alone the elections. It was April 2023, and then around October 2023, I was with him. I was home because Mom had traveled. So in the middle of the night, he woke up and was a bit stiff. So we're told that was another problem. Apparently, he was having a seizure. At that point, I didn't know, but somehow my brother and I Googled that when this happened, happens, you're supposed to increase this anti-seizure medicine, and we did. And when we went to hospital the next day, the doctor said, you guys actually, like you did what I would have said you'll have done. So that was another scare. April 23 was another scare. We had to do a second surgery. Then there was December 2023. And then there was more recently, February 2020. Sorry, there was December 2024, April 2024, December 2024, and more recently February 2025, when he was admitted in hospital, again at ICU. I think this was like his third or fourth time in ICU. My brother and I was like so confident, like he's been in, he's been out. So I was actually selected, I was not in the country at the time. I'd gone for a fellowship, UN fellowship that I was selected for, and I was debating between myself, should I go, should I not go? And I asked my mom said, do what your heart feels. He was in ICU at the time. And then I asked my brother, what do you think? And he said, you know what, Daddy would have wanted you to go. And besides, the number of times he's been in and out of the ICU, I mean, he always scares us and then he comes back. So he's going to come back. So I left to Addis Ababa for a month, packed my stuff for 1 month, knowing that my dad would go into ICU, beat it, come back, and knowing that that's what he would have wanted me to do. And then one day after being there, I get the call from my mom in the evening. She didn't even need to say it. She just said, yeah, the hospital had called her and they want her to come in, and they were not telling her what they want her to come in for until she pushed them, until they mentioned it. So, the funny thing is, I didn't, as much as, yes, he was sick, it didn't actually occur to me this day would actually come because of how confident he was in just pushing himself and on how confident he was in his will to live. The other day my mom and I were having a discussion about maybe I needed to leave the country for him to go. I don't know, because I don't know. It just, because it's not making sense to me how I left. But at that point, I just knew he was going to be okay. But then he wasn't. But what I want you to take, I guess, away from this, and for me, I think to my dad, he was not just a father, he was literally the best father anybody could ever ask for. The best father any daughter could have ever asked for. I'm so grateful for him. It's sad losing him at 63. Of course, you want him to be there for you in your future. You want him to be there to see your grandchildren. That's one thing my brothers and I guess, were not able to give him before he passed. My future children, I know for sure, and my future nieces and nephews will know his name, they'll know his legacy, they'll know who he is. And I will, sorry, I don't know how to conclude. I'll probably just keep going. So I'm just going to say to Daddy, I think rest well. As much as you have been sick for some time, you'd expect it to be, okay, I don't think it can be easier, but it's still hard. And I guess he needed to rest. Maybe I didn't take that into, consideration. I just wanted him to be here.